I'm going to talk about the forces behind a rising India. These forces exist in all of us, all of you. You will drive India, and I'm going to explain this in 5 questions. The first question is, what is this rise of India? Everybody across the world is talking about it. Every week I get a delegation of some foreign minister, some defense minister, some think tank people from across the world of specific countries. They come in groups wanting to know, what is this India story? What is this rise of India? What's happening in this geography? And I briefly tell them the following. The first rise is, of course, the economy. We are the world's 5th largest economy, going on 3rd within the next 18 months to 2 years. We are going to be a $10 trillion economic powerhouse by 2032. I'll give you one more instance. Everybody uses the UPI here. What several countries produce in a year in terms of their GDP is what India transacts in a month. Last year, India transacted about $168 billion in April 2023, which is about the economy of Ukraine. 12 months later, by the time I talk, I'm giving you this example because I often use it, and every time I need to update my data. Every time I talk to people, the number of countries have increased. Last month, what we transacted on UPI was $236 billion, which is approximately the GDP of Qatar. In the past 12 months, we have transacted $2.3 trillion worth of transactions on UPI, which is more than the GDP of Russia, Australia, Canada. The second rise of India, you can see it is geopolitical. With America, Japan and Australia, India works at the Quad. With China, Russia and other countries, we work at the BRICS. In G21, it used to be G20 until India's presidency. Now it is G21. We have included the African Union. These are big things geopolitically. In geoeconomics, despite all the tensions around everywhere, India continues to import oil from Russia and invites investments from America. In the space of technology, India is among the handful of countries that has been able to make its own 5G equipment. We are working on 6G and 7G. In the area of space, India is one of the 5 countries where we have landed, and the only country that has landed on the dark side of the moon, if you remember Pink Floyd. We are the only country that is among the only countries that has headed towards Mars. The rise of India that I'm talking about is really the rise of a renascent nation, not a renaissance, renascent, which means coming back from infinity to void and back to infinity. What is driving this rise is my second question. The answer is a simple thing called a Rajasic force. What is Rajasic force? It is part of our philosophy in Sankhya Darshan, where among the 3 gunas that we all have as individuals, Rajas is one. The first is Tamas, which is broadly inertia, passivity, reception. The second is Rajas, which is activity, dynamism, reaction, where you act. The third is Sattva, where you talk about equilibrium, balance, and retention. Rishi Kapila in the Sankhya Darshan and Ved Vyasa in the Bhagavad Gita, if you read chapter 14 in the Bhagavad Gita, it describes these tattvas very clearly. It applies to individuals and in all parts of our individual. This is the body. When you see a thakawa guy, you know he's tamasic. When you see a dynamic bunch of people, like I have seen the organizers of this TED Talk, you know there is dynamism, there is Rajasic force driving them. There are some who are more elevated, calm, cool, controlled guys. You will always find them in your class somewhere, that cool cool dude sitting at the back, very content with himself. He is Satvik. The rishis that I'm talking of our past, they were all Satvik. All these three tattvas, tamas, rajas and sattva, coexist together in our beings all at once, and they apply to all parts of our being, which is the body, the mind, the emotions, the psychic and the spiritual. So it is this complex interplay of various forces that makes us who we are, that makes you who you are and who you can be. The dominant trait, we all have all these three traits. The dominant trait describes what your tattva, dominant tattva is. In this room I am seeing largely a rajasic tattva, but at our times I think there were far more tamasic tattvas. I think this change has happened, and that is how you are leading this change of India. By the way, from individuals, Vedvyasa in the Shiva Puran also applied the theory of these tattvas to divinities. According to Vedvyas, Rudra and Lakshmi are tamasic. Brahma and Saraswati are rajasic. Vishnu and Sati are sattvic. Which brings me to the third question. How does this apply to nations? According to our scriptures, it is all very individual and to some extent, like I mentioned, for divinities. Sri Aurobindo, he applied this knowledge to collectivities, which is like this room that we are in, the college that you are a part of, the university, and since elections are around the corner, your constituents. The agglomeration of collectivities defines the tattva of a collective. Like in this room, I am beginning to sense a little bit of rajasic notion here. As we go out, you will see more and more of this. The more, again, like in individuals, the dominant trait describes who you are. For nations, the dominant trait in a collective describes what the nation is. We have moved from tamasic nation to a rajasic nation. By the way, there is no sattvic nation so far. According to Sri Aurobindo, this movement of nations moves from tamas to rajas and back. There has been no sattvic nation so far. Perhaps the rise of India could be a nation that moves from rajas to sattva. My fourth question, is this force here to stay? Is the rajasic force that we are all sensing in our bodies? Some of us who have moved across one generation can see it more clearly than you who are living it day to day. Is it here to stay? The answer is no. It can go, it can come back, it moves. In fact, if you look at history, as I will now show you, you will see how this force has moved all across the world at different times. You have to be receptive, you have to worship it, you have to call on that force, and that's where it comes and it stays. Around 1000 AD, India's GDP was 28% of the world GDP. Our trade was 33% of world trade. That means 1 in every 3 transactions came from India or headed towards India. Then we lost the force, the invasions came, and the rest you read about it in your history classes. This rajasic force then shifted to Europe between 1500 to 1950s. You can see how Europe is crumbling right now. Part of it is because they have given up on that rajasic force. It moved into Japan from 1850 to 1950, the rise of samurai, the imperialists, the military that happened during that time. It moved to China in 1990 and it's there till date. Now it's coming back to India. Just to give you some more numbers, in 1947, India's GDP was 4% of world GDP. By 1991, through tamasic policies and ridiculous attachment to ideologies, it became 1.1%. In 1991, and I've talked about it in an earlier discussion at Hindu College here itself, when I talked about economic reforms, we moved from 1.1%, those reforms have taken us today to 3.4%. 15% of the world economic growth comes from India. That's the change that's happening. That's the Rajas that's driving our nation. Last question. How can you negotiate this Rajasic force? First, become conscious of who you are. Everybody doesn't need to be a Rajasic individual for a nation to be Rajasic. If you are not a Rajasic person, step out of the way, let the Rajas carry us forward. In the 1991 reforms onwards, there has been not a single constituency that has been left behind, that has not benefited from the economic reforms, through prosperity, through better well-being, through better lifespans, better healthcare. India, every person has benefited, every constituent, every citizen has benefited from the economic reforms. Read about it, understand it, but most important, experience the Rajasic force inside you. Experience it, it lies here. Realize that Rajasic force and then use that force to serve our nation. You can take any path, you can choose any road. You can be a manager, doctor, teacher, ambassador, civil servant, anything that you wish, but do it becoming conscious of these forces within you. This technology is available only in this geography. Nowhere else in the world has it been discovered or even thought about. To conclude, all I can say is India is standing at a very important and sensitive cusp and point. The future belongs to you. Thankfully, that force has come, and I urge all of you to become the repository of those forces and then unleash that to take India forward. Vande Mataram.